So you wanted to know what makes Lightwalker so compelling. This book, while it's unlike anything I've ever read, it's not your like typical look at faith or miracles.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Right.
imagine like a journalist just grabbing his notebook and hitting the streets.
Yeah.
Hospitals, shelters, you know, those raw corners of life, the places people don't really want to look. That's Lightwalker.
It really is. It's like you're right there with Step Harmon experiencing everything, like in real time. He doesn't shy away from anything.
Yeah.
Poverty, addiction, the tough stuff, you name it. And he doesn't try to make the spiritual side all, fluffy either.
Right, right. So we're going to deep dive into 3 stories. You picked these, right?
I did. I think they really capture the heart of the book and its message.
Especially for those who, might not connect with traditional religious stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, so story number 1. To save that which was lost. This is Greg's story, and it takes place on a busy roadside. Just picture it. Cars rushing by, exhaust fumes, and Greg lying there on the sidewalk, almost invisible.
Yeah, Harmon even describes ants crawling on Greg's sleeping bag, the stench of bug spray.
Oh, wow.
It's a powerful image. It's like a life that most of us choose to just ignore.
Yeah, makes you think if you were walking by, would you even notice him?
Harmon asks himself that, and he decides to do something different. He chooses to see Greg as a person.
Wow.
Worthy of attention.
So he goes up to him.
He kneels down and prays.
Wow.
And not just a quick, bless this man kind of prayer.
Right, right.
But a real fervent prayer for
Yep.
healing, for a miracle. And
Wow.
then things get really interesting. Harmon describes this shift, a peace that comes over the whole scene. It's like a door opening to something beyond, beyond the everyday noise and rush. And in that space, it seems like anything is possible.
Okay, but this isn't just a feeling, right? Something actually happens.
Oh, yeah. Greg's hearing, which he had lost, comes back. Just like that. He can hear the traffic. He can hear Harmon's voice. It's wild.
No way.
And then he starts to walk. Greg, who couldn't stand before, is on his feet, taking steps.
Whoa, okay.
The book doesn't try to explain it medically. It just presents it as evidence of a power beyond our understanding, a power that we can access through faith and compassion.
So it's not about like religion.
No.
It's about this real Jesus.
Yes.
The one who shows up in the unexpected places, not just, churches and stuff.
Exactly. It challenges us to see the divine in the everyday, to recognize that, miracles can happen anywhere, especially when we choose to see the humanity in those who are often overlooked.
That is powerful.
It is.
Okay, story number 2. This one, I think, hits even closer to home for a lot of us. Homeless to homeful. This is Linda's story, and honestly, it made me tear up a little reading it. Imagine it's nighttime, and Linda is huddled under a streetlight with her 2 dogs. And the light shines on her face, her thin frame. She's been living on the streets for 2 years, and these streetlights, they offer her a tiny bit of safety.
She can't get into shelters because of her dogs, and those dogs are her family, her everything.
Wow.
Can you imagine?
A roof over your head, or the only beings who give you unconditional love.
Harmon doesn't just observe her, he feels it. And his prayer, it's so raw, so emotional. Compassion, but also anger, like a righteous anger at the system that fails people like Linda.
It's easy to just walk by.
It is, but he doesn't.
And then
out of the blue, Linda receives a call. Someone's heard her story, and they're offering her not just a place to stay, but a fully furnished home.
You're kidding.
A place where she and her dogs can finally rest. It's like her prayers and Harmon's faith, they just unlock this flood of blessings. It's a reminder that all it takes is one person to see the need, to extend a hand.
To believe.
Yes.
That's amazing. Linda's story, it's a testament to prayer, to compassion. It's a reminder that we are all connected, and even small acts of kindness can have a huge impact.
It highlights a key theme of the book. Putting others first opens the door to experiencing, the divine.
It's not about earning God's love. It's about aligning our hearts with His.
Exactly. Welcome back. We were just talking about how important it is to really see those in need and respond with compassion.
Yeah.
It's something that comes up a lot in Lightwalker.
Yeah, definitely.
It challenges us to look beyond, our own ideas about faith and religion.
This next story, Delivered from Demons, this one really made me think.
It's intense.
It did, yeah.
It features a woman who, society has kind of labeled as crazy, someone most people would probably avoid on the street.
You see her wandering around, talking to herself.
Yeah.
And there's this darkness around her that goes beyond just, being homeless.
Right.
Harmon even says he felt like a chill when he saw her. And he's a journalist, right?
Yeah, he's seen a lot.
He's used to dealing with difficult situations.
But even he senses something more is going on,
Yeah.
Like there's a spiritual battle happening within her, and he can't ignore it.
So what does he do?
Well, guided by his faith, he invites her to sit with him.
Okay.
He prays for her, and not for a new apartment or a job, but for something much deeper, for her deliverance from whatever is tormenting her.
Wow.
And the way he describes this prayer, it's so vivid.
Yeah.
The woman starts shaking violently, almost as if something's trying to get out of her.
It's like scary.
It's intense. Yeah, he talks about feeling unseen forces, around them, like it's this portal to another realm.
Right, that we don't usually see.
Exactly.
And what happens to the woman after?
It's incredible. She's calm, her eyes are clear, and she says, Jesus is Lord.
Wow.
Like this declaration of victory.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, for someone who's not familiar with the idea of spiritual warfare, it might sound like a horror movie.
It does.
But for those who see the world through a lens of faith, it's a reminder that there are these forces at play, and prayer can be a weapon against darkness.
So there's hope even in the darkest situations.
Absolutely. This one, she was an outcast, someone to be feared, but she found peace through faith.
It's interesting because, we see homelessness, mental illness, addiction, and we just label people.
It's easy to do that.
We distance ourselves.
Yeah, we avoid engaging with them.
Harmon, by acknowledging the spiritual element, is a totally different perspective.
It doesn't mean mental illness isn't real.
Right.
It just suggests there might be more to it than we understand.
Yeah.
And maybe by approaching these situations with compassion and faith, we can be a part of someone's healing journey.
Okay, so on to the next story. The Music Maker.
Yeah.
It's about a guy named Mike.
A homeless musician.
But not just any musician. This guy used to tour with Tom Petty.
Talk about a fall from grace.
Yeah, but now he's battling addiction. And to make matters worse, his guitar gets stolen.
His lifeline.
Yeah, he's hit rock bottom.
And in this moment of despair, Harmon gets what he calls a word from God.
What's that?
A promise that Mike will get a new guitar within 7 days.
Really? I mean, come on, that sounds impossible.
Yeah.
They're both living on the streets.
But here's the thing. Harmon doesn't just sit around waiting for a miracle.
No.
He goes out and hustles, he asks around, checks pawn shops, looks online. He's putting in the work.
So it's faith in action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
God gives you the direction, but you got to take the steps.
So did he find the guitar?
Within 7 days, just as promised, he finds one, not a fancy one, but a decent instrument.
And Mike?
His face lit up when he saw it.
It's more than just the guitar, though, right?
It's about hope.
Showing someone that they matter.
Exactly. And you know what? After Mike got that guitar, he started playing again. He found love, and he got sober.
Really?
It's like this one act of kindness, this impossible promise. It set off a chain reaction of positive change.
Wow. Okay, this next story is really interesting.
How so?
It shows that you don't always need some grand gesture to make a difference. Tired of the streets. It's about this young guy, Kenny, who's just had enough.
What a hat.
Someone's been messing with his dog.
Oh, the one thing he has.
Yeah, he's at his breaking point.
And Harmon, what does he do?
He does something that, well, honestly, it seems kind of crazy.
What's that?
He tells Kenny, within 7 days, you will have a job. Within 30 days, you will have a place to live.
Wow.
I mean, I'd be skeptical.
Right, life on the streets isn't exactly predictable.
It's not.
But it's not about predicting the future.
Then what is it about?
It's about speaking life into a hopeless situation, giving someone something to hold on to.
So did it work?
Get this. Kenny actually gets a job.
No way.
Within a week, he's working, and within 30 days, he's living with his grandmother.
You serious?
It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
It suggests that words have power, especially when spoken with conviction and faith.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest miracles, sometimes they're not the flashy ones, but the quiet transformations that happen in people's hearts.
This book is really making me see the world differently.
It's powerful stuff.
Yeah. But there's still more to unpack, so
Yeah.
Let's keep going. So we've been talking about Lightwalker, and I got to say, it's really making me rethink how I see things. Faith, miracles, just how I see people on the streets, honestly.
It is powerful, yeah. And this next story, The Good Steward, it takes a bit of a different angle, not like a dramatic healing or, a big turnaround.
Okay, so what is it about?
So picture this. It's a hot summer day, sweltering, And this homeless woman named Lucy, she's collecting recyclables.
Okay.
Bags and bags of cans and bottles, sweat dripping down her face. She's working hard.
I see people doing that all the time, but I don't really think much of it.
Yeah. It's easy to just tune it out, right?
Yeah. It's just part of the city, I guess.
But Harmon, he sees something deeper in Lucy's actions.
Oh.
He sees her as a steward of creation,
What?
Like she understands the goodness of the earth and she's doing her part to care for it, even though she's struggling herself.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
It is.
It makes you realize how much we take for granted, right? Like our homes, air conditioning, our recycling bins. We just toss stuff in there without thinking.
Right.
Lucy's story is like a wake-up call.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds us that even small acts can make a difference.
And Harmon takes it even further. He connects it to a spiritual truth.
Oh.
He believes that caring for the environment is an act of worship.
Wow.
It's like honoring the creator by respecting his creation.
That's a new way of looking at it for sure.
It might surprise some people, who think faith is all about church and rituals.
Yeah.
But it's about how we live every day, right?
Right.
Do we use our resources wisely, appreciate nature? Do we fight for policies that protect the planet?
That's a lot to consider.
It is.
Okay, so this next story, this one gave me chills. The man everyone avoided. This guy, Harmon describes him as looking like Charles Manson, grimy, talking to himself, someone you'd cross the street to avoid.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But Harmon, he feels like he has to help.
Wow. He's really putting himself out there.
He is. And then these weird things start happening. He runs into the guy in a beach town miles away from where he normally is. And the shops are closed. There's no reason for him to be there. It's like something is making these encounters happen.
Harmon even mentions a verse from the Bible. Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it.
Wait, so he thinks this guy, this scary-looking guy, might be an angel.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It's kind of freaky, honestly. Like, what if we're encountering angels all the time and we don't even know it?
That's what I love about this book. It makes you question everything you think you know.
Yeah, for sure.
It opens up possibilities.
Okay, let's talk about a story that's a bit more heartwarming. The Heart Spoke. This one is about a homeless man who, well, he doesn't really talk. He's got no shirt, no shoes, just this quiet presence. Easy to overlook, but Harmon feels drawn to him.
Sometimes the most powerful communication goes beyond words.
That's right. Harmon picks up on that, the need for connection, and he gives the man a backpack full of supplies.
Nice.
And the man's eyes, they just well up with tears.
A small gesture, but it meant everything.
Later, Harmon gets this message. I gave him a voice from his heart, and you listened. Not all who have voices speak, and not all who are without a voice are silent.
Powerful.
Like, we need to pay attention not just to what people say, but to how they act, their energy,
The unspoken messages.
Yeah. This book, it's full of stories like this. They challenge us to open up, see the world differently.
To see the divine spark in everyone, to understand that miracles can happen anywhere, anytime.
If we're open to them.
Exactly. And to embrace compassion as a way of life, a way of connecting with the real Jesus, the one who walked among the hurting.
What's striking me is how much, freedom Harmon gives to the people he meets.
What do you mean?
He doesn't see himself as a savior,
Yeah.
more like someone who listens, prays, helps, but ultimately it's their choice.
That's important. It's not about fixing people. It's about meeting them where they are, empowering them.
Lightwalker is a challenging book, yeah. But it's inspiring, hopeful. It reminds us we're all connected, that miracles are possible.
And that love, it can transform lives, even in the darkest times.
So as you go about your day, think about this. What impossible situations might be calling for your attention, your prayers? What if you stepped out in trust and just saw what happened?
The answers might surprise you.
That's something to think about. Until next time, keep diving deep.